Hey everybody, today we're going to dive back into some campaign ad reactions. I did these all throughout the midterms a couple of years ago. I also did some a year ago for those elections. I'm not sure how many I'm going to do or if people still enjoy this type of video, but since the general election seems to be underway, I've got an ad for Kamala Harris and an ad for Donald Trump. We're going to play them, we're going to react to them, and we'll see what people have to say in the comments. So these ads are on their YouTube channels. I try to balance it out and have one for each side. First up is Harris, and this is her launch campaign video. So let's dive in, we'll pause it in the middle, and we'll talk about what we're looking at.
In this election, we each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? There are some people who think we should be a country of chaos, of fear, of hate. But us, we choose something different. We choose freedom.
Alright, so far it looks like she's just trying to introduce herself to voters because there's going to be people who really don't know who she is, even though she's been the vice president. And so far the theme of this has a bit of a gospel type of feel. I'm guessing it's not really going hard for senior citizens in the Rust Belt, but she says she's going for freedom. Who doesn't love freedom? Every side says that's what they want to do. But of course, it's all in the details on the type of freedom you're talking about. But it looks like she showcases many different demographic groups that she's going to try to get support from. And she's not going hard after Donald Trump so far. There's been a few shots of him and she's contrasting herself to Trump's vision. His vision is going to be chaos and criminality. Hers is going to be freedom. So let's finish up the video and see what else we've got.
The freedom not just to get by, but get ahead. The freedom to be safe from gun violence. The freedom to make decisions about your own body. We choose a future where no child lives in poverty, where we can all afford health care, where no one is above the law. We believe in the promise of America, and we're ready to fight for it. Because when we fight, we win. So join us. Go to KamalaHarris.com and let's get to work.
I'ma keep on running cause the winner don't quit on themselves.
Alright, so that's the Harris ad. I think it mostly plays into her base, which of course makes sense. Again, it's not heavy on attacking Trump. The mugshot is in there, just a little reminder in case you forgot about how bad Trump is. And she expands on the freedom angle a little bit. She says not just the freedom to get by, but the freedom to get ahead. From gun violence and some healthcare decisions, of course, that's going to be abortion. It's hard to really say that there's anything too awful in that ad. I think for the most part, it's pretty much what I said at the beginning. She's just trying to introduce herself to voters. She glosses over some of the main themes that ignite Democratic voters, and then a few glances of the opposition, which is Trump. So overall, I guess it's an alright ad. It does seem a little bit more mild, but I don't know, maybe it is much more impactful than it seems. So let's move on to the Trump ad, and this is going to be from a few days ago, and this one is just a little bit longer, and it goes right after Harris, as we can see here. It calls her a radical and connects her with San Francisco. So again, we'll play it, we'll take a break in the middle. Here we go.
I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her.
You're considered the most liberal United States senator. Well, actually, the nonpartisan GovTrack has rated you as the most liberal senator.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
We are going to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented and cross borders criminals. That's correct. That is correct.
A lot of the signs at the rally you just held were people standing there saying, abolish ICE.
Yeah.
Is that a position that you agree with?
We need to probably think about starting from scratch.
So you support giving universal health care, Medicare for all to people who are in this country illegally?
I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being public health, period.
Alright, so far this is clearly a much darker ad than the Harris one we just took a look at. This is Trump going on offense. It's got the low quality clips of Harris from the past. It's got the dreary music. The focus so far is clearly on immigration, and that is probably Trump's strongest issue. It's trying to make Harris look way too extreme, way too liberal. She's got a track record of statements going back to her 2020 run for president, where she tried to look more progressive in the Democratic primary. Then as vice president, she was put in charge of the border. But then there's a bunch of clips showing her stance on immigration, as well as her effectiveness as VP on the border. And once you have a compilation of these clips, it doesn't really look that great. He's trying to remind voters that this is his issue and she cannot be trusted on any of it. Also, at the very beginning, she states her pronouns. That's going to be something else that's probably more off-putting than not for voters in the middle, as well as igniting his base as if they needed any more reason to be ignited. The last thing I'll say so far is she mentions healthcare and something to the effect of how no human being should be denied access. That part I actually think is a reasonable position. However, I do think with immigration and healthcare, a lot of voters do find there to be a clear dividing line between citizens and non-citizens. So that's something else I took note of. All right, let's finish this up.
Are you for defunding the police?
How are you defining defund the police? It's actually wrong and backward to think that more police officers will create more safety. We need to get rid of money bail.
Convicted, in prison, like the Boston Marathon bomber, on death row, people who are convicted of sexual assault, they should be able to vote?
I think we should have that conversation. I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal. I have always supported Medicare for all. I was very happy to sign on to Bernie's bill, and I give Bernie, frankly, a lot of credit. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Do you ban plastic straws?
I think we should.
Alright, so that is the Trump attack ad after Harris. The rest of that hits her on crime and some statements she's made a few years ago. A lot of that's not going to be popular. The question is, how much does it matter at this point in time? The banning fracking, the banning plastic straws, I really don't know how much impact that's going to have right now. She could easily say that she's changed her position, and maybe these old clips don't really have much sway. So there's a lot in this ad, including the Green New Deal, and there's also the clips of her laughing, but it doesn't look like they overdid it in this. Maybe it all falls flat, but there could be enough here that's successful at painting her as too extreme for moderate, independent, or suburban type of voters. And overall, I would say it's a more effective ad than not. I know there's plenty of attack ads that could be levied at Trump. We've seen those a million times before, so voters could just be numb at this point. And maybe the characterization of Harris as a radical is going to be new to voters and carry more weight. We don't really know yet, but that's a look at a couple of these initial ads from Harris and Trump. My guess is the camps on both sides are going to be fired up by their own ads, and they're going to dismiss the other side's attacks. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about either of these two ads? Did the Harris ad do a good job of introducing her to voters as the nominee? Do you think it was too mild? It didn't go after Trump enough? And what about the Trump ad? Do you think it was too dark, or do you think it accurately portrayed Harris's extreme record? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and join if you'd like to help support the channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.